This is Anne,
And this is Malia.
and we are the royal subjects. We are back from our Balmoral excursion where the king is still upright, Camilla is still windblown, and Kate seems to be eking a return back into the public life.
Yes, now we're just fending off invitations from Latin American countries to come
Yes,
visit.
yes, I was invited to a women's empowerment exposition in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, or Tashkent, wherever Tashkent is.
Wherever Tashkent happens to be.
All I know is that it's the best security I've ever seen in my whole life. Better than Lagos and Medellin, Colombia.
I mean, as a security conscious person, I know that I would never dare step foot in London, but Bogota worries me not at all.
Not at all. In fact, our intrepid prince traveler Harry, who just doesn't care about himself, only for the welfare of his wife and children, stayed at Altrip for a funeral last week. You know, the place where his brother said he couldn't provide adequate security for Diana.
Yeah, you know what? We started, and I guess we should just dive in. Although, wait, I
Okay.
made a promise, so I want to say hi to Joyce and Sarah because I promised them I would do the shout out for them today. So, hello, Joyce and Sarah, who we were playing tennis this morning.
Oh,
Anyway,
hi Joyce. Hi Sarah.
uh, man, I should have come up with royal titles for them. Now I just feel silly. Anyway,
The Marchionessa, the
Marchioness,
Principessa Joyce and Marchionessa Sarah.
Duchess Sarah,
There you go.
Viscountess. Okay, so let's just
Margrave.
dive into the whole because
Okay.
there are better things to come. So let's just get the Bogota thing and the jam thing out of the way
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that we can just move on and put this nightmare behind us. Okay, so the thing I wanted to ask you, background, Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of
Well
Sussex,
done on the name.
were went on a trip to Colombia at the invitation of, I want to say, the vice president. And they did the things that, okay, like as a separate rant for another day, like I don't really understand royal trip things, but I also don't like networking or meetings, so I'm probably not the person to ask about this. But royal trips seem to just mostly involve in giving a speech at a boring kind of event, standing around while people, do things, do some sort of show, and then, shaking the hands of like children. And that's what they did. They did the shaking hands, speaking at like dull events tour of Colombia. Now, as an aside, there has been any number of scandals about this because the various critics of the Colombian government in Colombia have said, what the hell? Basically, it was very expensive. There have been a number of different estimates.
Colombia's so
Somebody put
rich.
out,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. Somebody put out that it actually cost $1.5 million or pounds, I don't remember which, for their security during their visit, which Colombia, that's a lot of money for them, I gather. Anyway, it's a big hit to the treasury. Something else I saw said, $6,000 a day to host them. So it's a little unclear, but it does seem that at a bare minimum, Colombia spent a lot of money for the Sussexes to come visit.
If they were working royals and dignitaries, I could see they would probably have budget set aside for that, but
Yeah,
not.
and so this is the thing that I find kind of interesting, which is that okay, so the host country is paying. It is not, England that's paying, or the royal, it's not coming from any kind of royal treasury, because okay, so when William does it or Charles does it or any working member of the royal family does it, they're doing it as a representative of the UK. And so there is a sort of political, it's like the nice face of the political outreach kind of thing. So there is a sort of diplomacy aspect to them doing it. But Harry and Meghan don't represent anyone. Like, they certainly don't represent the royal family. They don't represent the United States. Um, they're just like two celebrities. You brought two celebrities to your country. But I kind of wonder to what extent is their hunger for their profile create like diplomatic problems for the UK, because he isn't a diplomat. He doesn't have that kind of thing. And you could, if
That's
you
why
were
they're mad.
crafty.
That's why they're mad. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you were crafty, you could totally take advantage of that. Use that, create some diplomatic problems for the UK via Harry and Meghan and their desire to go be world ambassadors or whatever the heck they're doing.
Now, this harkens back to his late mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, who still had the title Diana, Princess of Wales, but was not a working royal. But when she got divorced, wanted to go to Angola and do landmine stuff, and to Bosnia-Herzegovina, where Britain had still been engaged in war, and it was still like had troop presence there at that time, and she didn't understand. I mean, she understood very well what she was doing because she was warned repeatedly. But all you have to say is, I just want to help people. And how could you be upset with me for just wanting to help people? And that's kind of the play that Harry's going for, I think.
Yeah, but it gives this imprimatur of like global acceptance, So if now, I'm not saying this is the situation with Colombia, but if I was a, tin pot dictator of a country, and I wanted to kind of boost my like acceptance on the global stage, I guess what I would do is create a, conference about women and disabled veterans and be like, come, Harry and Meghan, and they would.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always visiting poor and forlorn people who could use the money the government's spending to provide security for them. I'm not criticizing where their heart is, just kind of that they're spoiled brats, both of them. And Diana was too, even though I loved her. I loved her. I loved her. And she was a spoiled brat. Like there are times when inserting yourself creates more problems than it's worth. And like, for example, if a sniper had taken any of them out, and it caused a diplomatic thing, or if they did it over political reasons or to get back at the English or things like that. Same reason that Harry got extra security at the taxpayer's expense to go to Afghanistan when he really probably didn't even need to go at all. You know what I mean? Like, if something had happened to them, it's on Britain in terms of diplomacy.
Yeah, it's a really weird problem. And, I'm not surprised that they don't think about it or care, Well, I am a little surprised because I feel like it's in a long-term sense, maybe not a great strategy, but in the short-term sense, it's very, very good for the ego, and you get to do a lot of traveling and have people kiss your ass, and who doesn't like that? But
And for Meghan, she gets to sit on a panel with women, her favorite
incidentally,
thing. Yeah.
I just have to say, because I do sit on panels sometimes, like, I do not understand why, maybe it's an actress thing.
It is
Maybe
totally an actor's thing.
maybe it's one of those things where if you've just been pretty your whole life, you just really like crave for people to think you're smart. I don't know what it is, but it's
Diana
like,
never sat on a panel. She was like, I am not smart. That's okay.
oh, God bless her for that. It's not fun, really. Unless you're getting paid. I just
Oh, yeah.
don't
Here's
understand.
your glass of water. Thank you.
Um, anyway, so I've gotten that off my chest, and then we have to talk about the trademark, just
Yeah.
because.
Well,
So,
let's put on our legal hats. You're an attorney and I'm a paralegal. Well, we were. And so as I sit here in my muumuu with my parrot chewing on my tendrils and Chardonnay in my hand, let's be some backseat legal here.
so her Megan's trademark for American Riviera Orchard has
Yeah.
been TM. Well, no, not TM.
No, no.
TM, no.
TBD.
Um, it would be too much to say that it was denied. It's been rejected for various issues relating to. I mean, to put it in layman's terms, it's too vague. It's too broad. It's too vague, and so she has to decide. I think she has 3 months to basically cure some of the problems with the application, or try to cure some of the problems with the application, and
Paying a lawyer
or
to do so. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, paying a lawyer to do so, because God knows, I like, there's no way, and she shouldn't. This is not a criticism. Oh my God, do not try to file your own trademark like stuff.
Stop making stirring jelly and to go do the
That's
legal
like
paperwork.
own thing. Incidentally, I saw someone suggest that if that jam was being sold in stores, it would be like really, really expensive, like north of $50 or something.
Yeah, I heard about 40.
Yeah, and I mean, I was at Paris Baguette and the like organic non-GMO French like jam was like $8, and I thought that was pretty steep for jam because it's jam.
Again, I harken back to Bon Maman. Bon Maman has been around forever, and the family who founded it helped a lot of people during World War II. So yay. Anyway,
And very rarely more than 650.
very rarely, and you can get it at Big Lots for 2.
Really? I
Yeah.
did not know that. Oh, I mean, is it just like the flavors no one wants? Is it just like the mixed berry? Can you
It's
get the
just,
strawberry?
it's usually, well, I wouldn't say that they have the chestnut, but certainly strawberry and raspberry.
Okay, noted. All right. Anyway, I've gotten
We
off.
keep digressing, as always.
So the problem is like America. It's basically mostly geographic. She's basically just referring to somewhere to a geographic location, and like that's too broad for them. Also, like her descriptions of what she's going to sell, which is basically everything. Is a little too broad, because in the application they were like cocktail napkins, pans, pet foods, whisks, tongs, spreaders, just too many things, and the
Chips, dips,
descriptions are too
toys, whips,
broad.
the usual. That's from Weird Science, sorry.
The
Chips,
weird
dips,
thing
changes,
is,
whips.
it's been what almost 6 months, and they haven't like they launched it. Well, I guess they teased it. It's a weird.
What the hell is going on? Okay, between the Netflix thing, I know they recorded it. I know a lot of jam was made with the expectation that famous friends would hashtag it. But everything seems to kind of just go to this purgatory.
Yeah, I don't. From a business perspective, I don't really understand it. I think maybe they think they're building anticipation.
Like a
Um,
teaser.
but you
Launch.
just you teased a logo. I think
That
there's
was a
actually
big
supposed to be a
tease.
problem with the logo too, but that's a different matter. You teased a logo and the existence of Jam, and that there would be other things. And then it's 6 months and you haven't done anything. Like it's a weird order to do things in.
With the level of intensity with which they do these trips and the level of intensity with which they do red carpet stuff, it's puzzling to me because one would think that things were I was a PR person, so are you, like a really like top 3 agencies in the world PR person, and I'm telling you, there is a soft launch, there are events around it, there are interviews around it, there's charity work around it, exposure around it. This has been really random all year, and I know that their assistant just left.
I was going
Another
to
one
say the
just
problem
left.
might be that they seem to have what we could call a lot of staff turnover.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, they can't seem to get a CEO for American Riviera Orchard.
I'll
I,
do it. I'll do it.
God, would that not be great? um, we'll have to suspend the podcast.
It'd be a conflict of interest, which they know nothing about.
um, so they've had trouble getting a CEO, I guess. And then they've just lost an assistant and the head of their PR or something stepped down right after the Colombia trip, I think. And so, with one of those announcements about how, it's time, I was never going to be here for long, kind of
I'm gonna
like,
go spend more time with the family I don't have.
yeah, whatever.
Okay, that's fine.
So, I mean, that's probably part of the reason why everything's so delayed, I would imagine, but
Well, we've experienced this. And when I did agency work, I'll at least say that we would call this a type 1 client. And while I don't know what happened, I have a lot of clues. And my guess is that they come up with cogent, your paid people come, your people on retainer come up with cogent solutions. And this is also, remember, she's with that with Ari Emanuel's outfit.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, like she has an agent.
Yeah.
So, you're a PR person, you coordinate with the agent, you coordinate with the client, and you come up with cogent, calendar with which to roll out events or to build your brand and awareness for the causes you care about. My guess is that they keep getting invited to things that are more fancy than are practical to do, and they want to do that, and they keep dissing these people. They keep dissing the advice of these people because, like, well, we got to go to that because Oprah's there, or we got to go to that because of this, or we got to go to that because of Invicta, whatever. And any place that will give them a private jet, they'll go.
And
And I think
you're
that's
not
funny
getting
because,
the I mean, this stuff is boring. This is ordinary, boring work that is no
yeah,
fun to do. And that's might be, I mean, it could just be that. Like, who wants to do like the boring work
we
when
don't want to go
you're,
work at a soup kitchen in LA. We don't want to we don't want to go to the VA hospital in Los Angeles. That's depressing. To go talk to wounded warriors. That's depressing. Don't do
a
that.
tour of Colombia or like going to, speak at an Oprah thing, that is like glamorous and, spending all day in an office trying to figure out, what to do about your branding issue is not fun.
I care about Prince Harry's well-being. Let me be very clear. Just like most people, I see that little boy that grew up and what happened to him, and also experienced the pain of family estrangement and death and things like that, and coming up rough in your 20s because of these emotional things. I get it, I get it, right? But I'm going to admonish the fuck out of him for taking private jets when he is like the chief impact officer or whatever of a green travel company. And I don't
Uh,
want to hear that the money I spend on that jam goes to buying carbon credits.
oh my goodness. Well, for
Offset that.
incidentally, he is about to get paid out of his grandmother's trust.
Oh,
The
okay.
Queen Mother
Uh-huh.
had a like a $19 million trust for her grandchildren,
Well, that's
and
gone already.
they're the speculation is that he'll get a larger share because, she would have assumed William is going to be fine. And
When William got the Duchy of Cornwall from his dad,
yeah,
did, yeah.
so, I don't know how it's supposed to, no one knows how it's supposed to be divided up, but he's supposed to come into that money soon. Um, so hypothetically, he would be fine. But I'm over the taking private jets and, the environmental hypocrisy
And
thing.
then lecturing us about the environment.
I'm also over the whole like my mission, our big social issue is people being mean online.
He was mean and got paid to be mean to his sister-in-law and to his grandmother while she was losing her husband and while she had multiple myeloma and was slowly dying. That's mean.
I mean, I'm not saying it's okay to be an asshole online, but I just feel like maybe we could just stop having events where we run around and go, like, speak very seriously into microphones, a little like headset mic about how incredibly important it is that people stop being mean to other people online because it doesn't feel, I know it's always framed in like for the children, but I always see this like little like bubble of subtext, like, and also me.
Well, at the end of the day, I know Diana loved children, but the picture of her touching a legless child's face in Angola is still her looking beautiful touching a legless child's face in Angola. So now listen, I have to tell you guys something, and Malia, I'm going to share this with you too, because it's an important service announcement for our dear listeners. I know I sound harsher right now. I start, I started really intensive therapy for PTSD and childhood trauma about a month ago, and it's going really well, but I'm allowed to say I'm mad now. And so so I'm letting myself say I'm mad. So it's not that I want anyone to not succeed. It's that hypocrites make me extra crazy right now because I'm confronting that in my childhood life.
Well, I think that's very good and healthy.
And
And
I wish Harry would do the same.
I have no excuse. I'm just mean. So
No, see, here I am, like, explaining why I'm being mean. I don't need to do that.
you don't. You could just be mean, like me.
If I was
Come
really
with
mean, this
us.
bird on my shoulder would be biting me. It knows I'm gentle.
I don't think I, well, I'm not going to ask. You should never ask a question you don't want the answer to. So let's talk about Norway.
All right. Okay, well, we're going to do one more bridge with the British royals, a royal adjacent British half working, money-making people. So there's a way to do things. And so, Zara Tyndall, who is the very well-loved daughter of Princess Anne, who's about 40-ish now, and Olympic silver medalist, might I add, in horsemanship. And everybody seems to really like her and her ex-rugby player. They show up. They show up for everything. They're on the balcony. The king loves them. It's not because she's white or anything like that. It's just because she's quiet. She doesn't throw the family under the bus, I think, is the main thing, and doesn't demand more than they can give.
There's a thing where you're just relieved that someone isn't causing you any stress. And it could be as simple as that.
Yeah, they're not trying to get the last word when you're like the king. So Zara and her husband, like he was on Big Brother kind of show in Australia. She's got her own horse business. Princess Anne chose to not give them titles, and they don't carp about that. Anyway, she's got a new line of puffer coats out, rain jackets. And
that's right.
Very tasteful, and she's making money off of that without having to dish dirt.
I liked them. I mean, I don't have the right climate, but it was with Zara, I think, or someone.
Zara for Zara.
Yeah, or maybe it was a different brand. My British coat brand knowledge is not the best.
They need them more than we do. Yeah.
Yes.
They're very nice. So if you look up Zara Tyndall and coats, it's a very nice line of raincoats. They're all drab colors. You'll camouflage right in England, and looks like you'll stay a little bit dry.
I mean, it is the right coat for like walking to your estate car as you and wearing galoshes, which is not something I have the call to do very often. But if I did, I would want this coat to do that in. So
believe me, if you were there, you would. All that field walking. When I pet sit over there, I usually have boots that are higher than my knees that someone will lend me, or the owner of the home gives me, because it's really mucking. Like you get stuck unless you're wearing the right things.
Yeah, see, I'm too susceptible for that thing where you fantasize about the outfit and like what the situation is. I'm like, okay, so I'd have galoshes and then like a really soft, oversized white sweater, and I'm like,
oh no, not the white sweater.
I
the
know,
nubby white sweater.
I have such a weakness for nubby white sweaters. I don't actually own any because it's a white sweater. Like they immediately are ruined.
Can't do that.
You wear a white sweater and you will definitely end up having spaghetti for dinner. It's like,
yeah, and if you've got boobs, then the spaghetti is on it, or the gravy, the oily salad dressing stain that is.
Yeah, it's like how white pants attract hot dogs. I don't know what it is. It just does.
There's inevitably going to be oil or turmeric or tomato somewhere in the equation.
And of course, like for this whole image to work, you kind of have to have a sort of like ethereal Kate Moss-ish quality to you, which of course is not the situation because it's actually in a field and it's actually muddy and like the whole thing doesn't work. But in my mind's eye, this would be a great coat to be like with my oversized white sweater and galoshes.
And complete kudos to her. We are women of a certain age, and women of a certain age know that you must cover your ass literally when you are in cold, wet weather. If your butt gets cold, it's over. It's over for days. You're cold for days. So these are nice puffer jackets, but they go down either to your knees or below your bottom. And that is the way you should be dressing in the winter, because we don't wear moto coats anymore. We don't wear little leather moto coats.
Is sitting on a steel bleacher in autumn.
Yeah, if you're sitting on a bleacher, it's over. Your ass is gonna be cold for 3 days. There's no coming back.
Okay, so with that said,
now
I have opinions.
I've got so many.
Bring us in.
I'm going to bring you in, and that there was a royal wedding, which we are always very excited about. And this is in Norway, and this is the Norwegian Princess Maartha Louise, who actually was the firstborn child of King Harald and Queen Sonja. but because of primogeniture, her brother Håkon Magnus is the crown prince. And so Martha Louise is our age. She's like 50, 51. And she has 2 or 3 daughters who are teenagers. And we especially wish her happiness because her first marriage was to like a philosopher poet, a very famous author named Ari Ben, who very tragically commits suicide a few years ago after their divorce, but commits suicide. And so she's been very much attached with her daughters and helping them in her own heart through all of that, which somehow led her in the course of her soul searching to meet an American shaman named Durek.
Okay, now I feel at this point that I have to step in and point out that depending on which tabloid you're reading, you may call him American. We say shaman or shaman? I'm going to be really embarrassed
Well,
if
if it
like
was
I
the
would say it
band from
wrong.
the 90s, I called them the Shaman because they said, we're the Shaman and we keep rolling on. Do, 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 do. But shaman, if you're a white liberal person, educated as I am, who is trying to not offend anyone, you say shaman.
Okay, well, I'm going to now reverse that good work and say that depending on which uh, tabloid you're reading, you may call him either a self-styled shaman, or you can put the shaman in like quotation marks, which
Self-styled.
I like self-styled because I don't want to make quote fingers every time I say shaman.
Yeah, are you a self-styled anything, Malia?
Oh, I wish I were. Like I haven't really achieved self-styling yet.
What can I be? I'm a self-styled.
I guess
I
I'm
am
a
a
self-styled royal expert.
I am a self. That'll be us because we can be in all the tabloids. Then, if we just say self-styled royal expert, then we can be quoted galore.
Well, there
Apparently,
we are. Now we are experts, which you can put in scary quotes, or you
how
can
about
just
this?
say self-styled.
I'm a self-styled royal source.
Ooh,
That
I
gives
like
me
that.
extra heft without any responsibility for the truth.
Um, yeah. So I'm always of two minds with these two because on the one hand, like your new age aunt is like the sweetest person.
Yeah,
You know, she's always very nice, and when you like piss your mom off to the point where she goes crazy on you and wants to throw
yeah.
you out of the house, your new age aunt is always the ones who's like, "Come on, everyone,
Yeah.
let's remember what's important. I here's a
I'm a little bit
crystal."
of that, I have to admit.
So half of me loves like new age aunt, and the fact that Princess Martha Louise like talks about how she talks to angels and sells crystals and stuff like that. Part of me like loves that because I love the new age aunt.
Here's
And
some
then
rose quartz. Yes.
yes, and then part of me is like that stuff is all bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when you're trademarking and selling it.
And this is tacky. And so I am so like both two minds on this because part of me is like, oh, new age aunt and her now husband, he was a boyfriend at some point, and you'd be like, I went and talked to new age aunt and her boyfriend, and they prayed over me. That was weird, but they were so
But they were
nice.
trying to help, and that
And
I
she
do
gave
feel
me 20
better.
bucks and told me to go get myself some tea. So
As someone who had a sister with blonde cornrows who went on a vision quest in a sweat lodge and emerged named Dances in the Sun, I can also attest to how annoying New Age Aunt is and
I was going
confusing
to
for
say,
young people.
we can't skip that part because that is the really important other side of new age aunt. Because it's very sweet and she is very nice and she does give you 20 bucks.
Yes,
But
until
you
she
do,
asks you for 20 bucks.
but then she will later borrow 40 bucks from you and never pay you back.
That's right.
And and you couldn't afford it because you were just in college and you had no money.
I was working the farmer's market every weekend. I had to give them something. What can I do to help? You helped me spiritually, I think.
And it did involve like 4 hours of listening to crazy, awful, terrible advice.
Oh, all the things, all the things. Oh, I can't. This is why I'm in the therapy that I mentioned before, is going through all of this.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you.
No, I'm not triggered. I'm not triggered at all. I'm actually laughing because I'm allowed to now. I'm not supposed to not laugh. I can laugh now.
So, I mean, I knew not my actual aunt, but I knew a lady, Kauai, where I spent a lot of time in my
Yes.
younger days. Just attracts new age aunts like
And
crazy.
Princeville. Oh, oh.
Oh my God. It's like there's entire towns of new agey aunts. And I have to like add that, you know, not new age young girl who everyone loves because she um
She's figuring things out and she's on her way. You
yeah,
know.
new age aunt is old enough to know better.
It's like a so like me going through I went through menopause really fast, dear gentle listeners, and I went through it in like 1 year. And my mother gave me this book called like The Wise Woman's Guide to, and I didn't know that there was a series of Wise Women's Guides, and I'm glad
Oh,
I know that now. But when I first read it, I was like, oh yeah, don't beat yourself up too bad and all this. But when it told me to like hold my belly fat and love it like a lover,
oh,
and to marry my belly fat as part of my menopause belly fat. And it told me to marry my belly fat and commune with the ancestors. I'm like, I know, I'm gonna just take Wegovy. I'm not gonna do that.
I'm sorry. My belly fat and I are at constant war.
This is, it's a war of attrition, but I'm just gonna take the Wegovy. Sorry. Yeah. And also growing my gray hair out all the way. I'm like, do you know that my gray hair doesn't look good on me? Some women just rock it and they have lots of money and health regardless.
Yes.
Women who have good hair are women who have good hair. Doesn't matter if it's gray or red. Doesn't mean I don't accept myself, but my hair looks like if a terrier had pubes. That's how my gray hair grows out. I look like Gene Wilder. So
I,
now I
I
dye it and smooth back.
I like accept myself by not accepting things like that.
We're here all week, everyone. We're here all week. We're gonna have an angry wise woman cruise.
Sometimes wisdom is about not being okay with stuff.
Exactly. Like this isn't okay. Like I don't have to look like shit. I can accept the changes, but I don't have to look like shit.
Yeah, that actually sounds a little bit like just go ahead and give up. It's okay. Like, fuck you, no.
Thankfully, I was on a cruise last week with a girlfriend who I've known since I was 11, almost as long as I've known you. And she says, I said, well, I was trying to let my gray grow out one cycle, like, just to let it grow all the way out so I could cut it short. And then I was going to like dye it platinum or something. And she's like, but your brown hair looks really nice with your blue eyes. It
Yeah,
looks
that
really
contrast.
nice. Like, she's like, I'm not saying you look like shit like that, but why? Just what you said. There's no reason you have to look like shit
Yeah.
to
I
show that
mean,
you
if
accept yourself. Just go do your shit. Go do your and stuff, and you accept yourself. You're fine.
I mean, I'm going to put my vote in favor of the dark hair too because of the contrast, but you could just go to platinum without waiting for gray if you wanted to.
Do you think? Oh no, I tried that. It turns orange, and I look like one of those serial killer kids. Do you think that Meghan will ever grow her hair out gray like her mother's beautiful gray hair?
Huh.
Her mother is a very beautiful woman.
Yeah, I think, like you say, some people it really works for.
Mm.
Like it just works, and some people it does not. And
Or
it's
or
not,
you're like J Lo, and there's it's never gonna happen. It's just
yeah.
gonna happen.
I'm kind of planning to go the Sophia Loren J-Lo route. Or just be like, you seem a little old to still have dark hair. Yeah, I don't give a shit.
And that's fine. And I just say, yeah, I don't give a shit. I love you.
Unless maybe I will just go totally, totally silver at some point, just dye it all the other direction.
Yeah, I
But
was just do like the platinum silver thing, but my
yeah,
hair, like I said, the texture of it is now like, well, what I said.
I don't think I
And
have the skin tone for it. So
okay, so Martha Louise is 51. And so she's having the new age aunt wedding
yes,
with
yes,
money.
with a lot of money because we really cannot stress enough that she's like a member of the Norwegian royal family.
And Norway is one of the top oil producing countries in the whole planet.
Now she isn't. allowed to be Her Royal Highness anymore.
Yeah.
And she's not a working royal anymore. She stepped down so she could like do all her like woo stuff.
Yeah,
Also she
fine.
says she's clairvoyant. I mean, yeah, I think maybe we didn't make it clear how woo woo she is.
Like I have aunts who are clairvoyant. They have the gift. They talk to the dead. Like, oh, that's not too weird. Especially as you get older, you have more space in your head to experience other things. Like that's fine, right? Yeah.
She did have this whole thing about how she believes that when she was a kid, she talked to some like Nazi ghost that lived in her house. She's woo woo. She's
Yeah.
very, very woo woo. I mean, and then her husband, Mr. Verrett, yeah, he is a sixth generation self-styled shaman. I don't 100% get that. There's a little less exploration of him. He's often called a celebrity shaman, that kind of thing. So aside from like the fact that he shamans around in California, or did, they're moving to Norway, I gather. It's kind of hard to get a handle on what is involved in being a shaman. I don't really know. I mean, I guess you don't have to. I don't know how you become a shaman.
Well, here I've got. Let me pull up his wiki.
Or
Durek,
like what is
Durek.
involved in the shaman process.
I would, or like, are you like a griot? Are you like, what's the story? Little gree? No.
No,
Okay.
no, no, no.
So I'm going to read. He's a year older than me. It's November. Oh, you might share a sign, Malia. This is from
Great.
Wikipedia. Durek Verrett, born November 17th, 1974, as Derek David Verrett, is an American conspiracy theorist, convicted felon, alternative therapist, and self-professed shaman as practitioner of neo-shamanism. Well, that's a lovely introduction.
That's a lot. There's a lot to come
Are
through,
they going to
like
put that
sort
on
of
the royal
sort through
family's
there.
webpage? Oh my God. Hawken and Meta, I have been you. I got the brother-in-law named Mad Dog, who was a self-professed Native American who wasn't Native American. He is, but with all due respect to him, he's passed. He was a lovely man. Anyway, he has widely been described by media and other observers as a con man and conspiracy theorist. He was born in Sacramento, and his first wife was Zaneta Marzakova, and he had a partner named Hank Greenberg from 2007 to 2015, which is like 2 years before he met her. Verrett dropped out of high school. Oh my God, my God, this is my family. Okay. Verrett dropped out of high school and claims to have been a dancer. Claims to have been. There's like no.
Claims?
I was an extra in West Side Story in 11th grade or something. Claims to have been a dancer, model, TV personality, poet, and choreographer. He promotes various neo-shamanic practices rooted in New Age. His book, Spirit Hacking, he promotes several pseudoscientific views. He asserts that casual sex attracts subterranean spirits that make an impression on the inside of women's vaginas and offers exercises to clean out said vaginas. Well, I would love
Okay, well
I would love him to cleanse my vagina of my ex-boyfriends, but like I don't know how he does that, and I don't want to.
Let's hope that it's all spiritual and not physical.
He writes that children. Yeah, but he's probably telling women, if I just fuck it out of you, like the Decameron, like if I just fuck the demon out of you, it'll be gone.
Works.
He writes that children get cancer because they want it. Okay, he should run for vice president, and suggests that chemotherapy does not work and he's ever had cancer? Does not work and is given to cancer patients only because doctors make money from it. Well, not all of us want chemo, and we can see a bit of that, but not from you, dude. He promotes the reptilian conspiracy theory. This just gets better and better. It's not like, oh, no, he's just woo. Oh, he's not just woo. He promotes the reptilian conspiracy by those who enslave the planet. So like we're all really sleaze sacks if we have over a certain amount of money. He claims that he had knowledge of September 11 attacks 2 years before they happened. That's when he was 25 or something, but chose not to intervene. So he chose to
What a jackass.
Yeah, he chose to let all those people die because we needed it so that we'd learn, I guess, is my guess about that. So Verrett previously lived as an openly gay man and was, well, maybe she needs to fuck the spirits out of him from his exes who might have been toxic, and was in a long-term relationship with his male fiance.
Wow.
Hank Greenberg.
This just gets deeper and deeper. Like every time I think we have like gotten as far as we can.
Greenberg and others have accused him of domestic abuse. Now, there's going to be a divorce in 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Or 10 years when she's old and has to write a book about it because she's out of money. Manipulative behavior and being a cult leader. And his mother, Verushka Urquhart, wasn't she in Shrek? Okay. Verushka Urquhart disputed many of his claims about his background and called him manipulative and dangerous. Well, that I'll buy. In 2024, he married Princess Maartha Louise of Norway, a self-described clairvoyant and member of the extended Norwegian royal family. Well, anything you can do to stick it to your parents, right?
Do you think that King Harold called King Charles and was just like, dude?
Oh, he's from San Francisco, from Foster City, California, and legally changed his name to Durek in 2014 while he was with Hank. Verrett's parents divorced in April 1977. He was 2. Well, that's probably part of the story there. Not that there's anything wrong with divorce, but it does affect development. So when Verrett was 3, his father married Verrett's stepmother, Geraldine Roy. Well, that's a very normal sounding name after all this. It's a very grandmother sounding name, Geraldine Roy. In multiple 2019 interviews to publications, including Vanity Fair, Verrett claimed he was raised by a wealthy architect father with a private plane and domestic servants. Several of Verrett's relatives contradict such claims, including his paternal aunt, singer Shirley Verrett, who said Verrett's father was a middle-class contractor who twice went bankrupt, and Verrett's stepmother was a customer service agent for Alaska Airlines. United States, I'm sorry, this is too much. I'm reading this for the first time on here. United States Census data shows Verrett's childhood neighborhood was considered lower middle class at the time.
There's so much to that. I'm not even sure where one could start.
I'm going to be generous now and go into generational trauma. Okay, so Verrett's ancestors were slaves in the New Orleans area, at least since the early 19th century. It's horrible, where they continued to live where Verrett's father was born. So your father's from New Orleans and you grew up in San Francisco? Oh, okay. In the mid-20th century, Verrett's grandparents moved to California with their children. Verrett has claimed that his mother, Sheila G. Farmer, sorry, it said Sheila G in big letters, Sheila G. Farmer, who goes as Verushka Urquhart, there's another clue, is of Norwegian West Indian descent, although he is alternatively, someone of Norwegian Filipino descent.
I was going to say, I'm of Norwegian descent.
And you're not insane. Although he has alternatively described her as being of Native American heritage. So he's a fabulist. That's the new word for it, isn't it, children?
Oh, is that what we are saying now?
That's what they call George Santos, a fabulist. That's what he wants to. He's a self-described, self-styled fabulist. Not a liar. Yeah.
Not a liar. Well, I do appreciate that. Like, I kind of think it's fabulous as the word for, like, not only you're a liar, but holy shit, man, those lies are like big.
They're really big. Like,
some people just lie about like the small things, like, no, I didn't have an affair, or that kind of thing. Like, I came from a rich family. Like, but these are big lies.
In multiple interviews in 2022 and 2023, Verrett's mother described him as ingratiating, manipulative, dangerous, and prone to lying, and said she no longer has contact with him. Also, Verrett's sister, Demi Delanoë of the Night, has warned public against her brother and said he has threatened her. I don't mean of the night like she's a whore. I mean that's like clearly she probably made that name up. Yeah, she probably made that name up because it's like capital D-E, capital L-A, capital N-U-I-T, Delanoë. Said that if it was really her last name, they probably would have combined it all together a long time ago as Delanoë. or something.
Dumb.
Della Newitt. She's an American, she's from Detroit. Her name is Della Newitt. Also, Detroit means Detroit. And has threatened her, their mother, and her daughter. Well, I'm beginning to believe that. So Durek
Yeah.
states that a most important figure in his shaman career was a woman named Mamal, who Durek identifies as his great-grandmother and spirit guide, and who he says was a powerful medicine woman in Ghana, where she worked in service to her tribe, and that she fled Africa in the early 1800s when her tribe was invaded by the Dutch. However, well, that, you know, the Dutch had the Cape Colony and took a vast amount of slaves from Ghana, which is horrible. Um, However, United States Census records show that Eugenie Mamal Morel was not from Africa, which is a French name. Eugenie Morel is a French
His
name,
name. Yeah.
a French black name, Creole. Born in 1862 in New Orleans, where both of her parents were also born, and she was actually Verrett's great-great-grandmother. I'll let you talk for a minute, and then I can go back to Wikipedia.
Okay.
Okay.
That is so much. And it's funny because there is so much coverage of this wedding and a sort of like, what are we going to do with this? Like when your new age aunt gets married to the guy that everyone is pretty sure is robbing her. What do
Yeah.
you do? Do you just go to the wedding? I guess you just go to the wedding. But the whole experience, I'm going to wonder, I don't know if you're out there and you have never been to an uncomfortable family wedding, you're really missing out.
Did you see the Norwegian parents and like her brother and everything? They wore the traditional Norwegian costume, which you do to an event, a formal event. Norwegians will wear
Yeah,
their.
we have got to finally move to YouTube at some point so we can pop up the photos of this because I mean, it's like the mountaintop. It is the apex. It is the acme. It is the epitome of the uncomfortable family wedding. I
Yes.
don't think I could think of anything that is like a better example because it just happens on this stage. Like, we have an uncomfortable family wedding, but it's at the VFW hall or something. It's at a local hotel. Like this is like it's got other royal families because what are you going to do? Like,
In my family,
just
it was the lift shack at Ski Liberty.
like you have to, just like for your uncomfortable family wedding, you have to ask, the Rosenbergs because they was like he was your dentist, like, for like 10 years and they live next door. Like they have to ask the Swedish royal family.
No, the Norwegian royal family.
So you got if you could see these pictures.
And
Think of
go to hellomagazine.com. They had full rights to the wedding.
Oh,
So,
yes, on top
or
of
look up
everything
Maartha
else.
Louise wedding.
Yeah, so on top of everything else, they sold the rights to the wedding, which also did not sit well with the Norwegian people, I gather, because
That's just the beginning.
it feels a little tacky to like give exclusive rights to your wedding to Hello and then a Netflix documentary, which we will definitely watch the Netflix documentary.
Oh, we're gonna have to have like an offshoot podcast, I'm afraid, with a new name.
Yeah, there's going to have to be a special thing for the Netflix documentary. But you have like everyone doing their like this is how you would properly dress for a Norwegian like royal wedding. All appropriate. And then you have I mean the princess, I mean the bride and groom, and they are very much what you would think of if you thought
Oh,
of
this
your.
is so horrible. I'm so sorry, Håkan. I'm so sorry, Meta. I know that you just want the best and you don't want any more trouble. You're like me. I don't want any more trouble, but I just can't anymore. I can't holiday. I can't go to any more events. I don't need you to rebaptize me. I just need to become king and like get on with my life.
Like she is in um a
At least they
oh,
went to the wedding.
the bride is wearing. So here's the other thing about your new age aunt. she always dresses completely like it's very sweet, but she never knows how to dress.
So Malia, did you see The White Lotus?
I've watched the first season, some of the
I
first
can't
season.
keep thinking of the crazy woman in The White Lotus. It's her.
I can see that. She's like wearing like it's a very nice dress, but it's like not the right dress
I mean,
for.
I saw that dress at like a David's bridal outside of Philly.
Yes,
It's
okay,
pretty.
thank you. It's
It's
pretty.
really, and I know we're jumping. There's a kind of very, okay, let me just turn this rig around for a second. So they had their wedding just a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago in Norway, and they had it in a beautiful Fort Geiranger, I think it's called, Granger. Anyway, but it's in the Norwegian fjords. There's like resorts there. It's exceptionally beautiful, like the land of Peer Gynt, like just
Like
amazing.
big Scandinavian mountains and green and like craggy like scenery kind of thing, you know.
Like if you watched that show at HBO about here I go again with the HBO shows. The show not like industry billions. No, the one that everybody loves with the
Succession? No.
Succession. Yeah, they went there. That's like where they went for their Norwegian failed meeting that was so gorgeous, where they did
Yeah,
shot on
so
location.
it is a gorgeous background, and then you have all the like royal guests acting all royally and appropriate and
The
stuff.
princess, the crown princess of Sweden looked fantastic. She had the best dress of the day. It was a big coral frilly event.
And then she's got like, yeah, I guess that's the only thing. Like, I do feel like I'm sure it isn't, but your general impression is David's bridal. It just has to be said.
I mean, okay, so the last time I wore a sleeveless dress with frills around the shoulders was probably, I never did that actually.
It was actually, yeah, it's a floral applique. It's like, okay, let me, it is an A-line. I'm gonna guess some kind of satin, I can't really tell, with a plunging V-neck, tank style, it's sleeveless, and like a floral applique, but the floral applique is um, just a very slightly different white from the dress, and it just kind of has that sort of feathery look when like the applique just kind of it doesn't sit down, it like fluffs around,
I
but
think our
not very
first
much of it,
impressions
just kind of
texting each other were like,
scattered.
yeah, it's a little manic.
Yes. And it just kind of, I don't know. You expect better from a princess. I guess that's what I'm going to have to say. It's strange. The effect is very strange. Like it does look 100% like your new age aunt went to David's bridal and like picked out the dress that she liked
This
best.
this wedding is finally my turn. It's finally
Yeah.
my turn to be me wedding.
He, by the way, is wearing, oh my, where to begin?
I
Okay,
think
what
that
is the
when we
name of that?
texted each other about it when it happened, your take was delusional, which was awesome, and then my take was soap opera wedding.
It does look like a soap opera wedding. That actually is the 100% perfect thing. He's wearing like a
Vibe.
black brocade tux, the kind I always get it confused. This is a morning jacket where it's like short in the front and then the tails a morning coat.
I'm trying to look that up. Hold on, keep going.
And then this big silk floppy ascot thing in a sort of gold tone,
Fuck
and
me. Pardon my language,
and,
children.
and obviously a cummerbund that matches the big floppy ascot. And then there's this like, so the material of the tux for him is this sort of black on black brocade, but then it's got like gold embroidered
Hmm. It's their
symbols.
initials, their new age initials
Oh,
entwined.
that's right. It's their entire, I forgot. It just sort of looks like a matador thing. I don't know. The whole impression is like, good God, you should have been in LA. It is what
It's a total LA.
it is perfect, like 1987 LA tacky.
It's
like
like
just
at the end
dead
of a
on.
movie in the 1980, the late 1980, mid 1980s, end of the movie Wedding.
Like yesterday, for reasons unrelated to this, I was watching the Rob Lowe sing with Snow White at the 1988 or 89 Oscars. I can't
Oh,
remember which was like it's considered the end of like certain Oscar stuff. But that like 80s like tacky as hell excess, just that.
it's all Oscar dresses. That's what I'm thinking. That's what's coming to my mind. They look like they're going to the Oscars.
A little bit,
Um,
yeah. Like if you were like
in
critiquing it, you'd be
1991.
like, "Oh, too bridal."
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Joan Rivers would have had her own thing to say, and I'm sad that she didn't live to comment on this. But so
yes.
I do love Joan Rivers. So her wedding dress designer was Tina Stefanek Hermansen, which was a Norwegian designer. That's appropriate. That's great. It
That
wasn't
is
Givenchy like Meghan. Sorry, I had to. Uh, her dress was embroidered with gold pearls so that it really shone in the sunlight of the Geiranger Mountains. We
that
even did.
doesn't come through on the photos, alas.
No, 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 not at all. And that's a shame. Hopefully their lighting was good there. We even did the couple's monogram on the back of the dress in pearls. If you want to go for like who did it right with really amazing embroidery and tackiness that made it work, Fergie's dress, 100%.
Oh, I
Um,
love Fergie's dress
I
for
love
that.
Fergie's dress to this day. So she had 3 outfits. The Norwegian designer has been working with the European royal family for 20 years. Oh, that's nice. Even since she founded her eponymous brand, as well as dressing Maartha Louise. She has also created dresses for her sister-in-law, Crown Princess Mette Marit, and one of Maartha Louise's daughters, Leah Bain. The royal family are really good at championing Norwegian designers. It's so important to them. Okay, yada yada. That's great. So Maartha Louise first approached Tina to design her wedding day looks before Christmas, with the duo working on 3 separate outfits for the 3-day extravaganza, starting with a Latin American themed party on Friday evening.
Oh,
She
honey.
wanted to feel fantastic, so we made her a dress in pink and ivory, Tina said. We literally sewed it onto her body. I don't do that before parties because I'm going to eat. We literally sewed it onto her body. What are you, Kim Kardashian? It was a little bit shorter in the front with a split in the skirt so that she could dance and have fun. You can't dance and have fun if something's sewed onto your body. Let's be very clear
All
here.
I'm going to be thinking about in that situation, like when you put on a dress and you're like, it's going to be so hard to take this off.
No,
I
this
don't know. Does it
applique,
go, oh, does it go up or does it go down? Like, what am I going to do?
this applique business on her dress, you're like, is that an orchid? Is it a daisy? What the hell is it? Like, it just is like put on there. It's bedazzled, my friends. It's bedazzled. When it came to her wedding dress, Tina and Maartha didn't look to the runway for any other brides for inspiration, but instead talked about what suited the princess and what she liked. Well, this sounds like me to her credit. This sounds like me. She said, "Tina, could you just wrap fabric around my body and you'd make it look good?"
I
That's
mean, that's
me.
very sweet.
um, they settled on a sleeveless Duchess silk gown, nice, a silhouette that the princess also wore for her first wedding to her late ex-husband Ari Behn in 2002. They had a wedding at Trondheim Cathedral, which is a medieval cathedral in the northern Norway. Very cool. Anyway, so we didn't talk about her first wedding. She's so focused on hearing it. Well, of course. The final design was a sleeveless chiffon and silk gown featuring not only pearl embroidery, but also a 3-meter long train. Okay, this is where the delusional came in. A 3-meter long train to make it feel majestic. We wanted to do something classic, elegant, and sophisticated, but also with a little twist, which is why we added 3D embroidered chiffon and silk floral appliques to the bodice. They were inspired by the mountain blooms of Geiranger. Geiranger.
You've
I'm
been to
remembering my
Norway.
Norwegian.
We're depending on you for this.
Geiranger. Geiranger.
Okay, that works. That must be exactly right.
For her something blue, Martha Louise asked Tina to embroider Durek's symbol, quinterium. At first I thought that was a flower, but it's not. Described as the divine emblem that opens your sensorium, expands consciousness, and balances energies.
I
Prince,
opened my
you
sensorium once, but then I got a cold, so
if he does it this way, then you'll feel it in your sensorium. Um, I think Prince should sue him posthumously for stealing that. And the blue underneath the train of her dress, so that when it was removed from the evening party, it could be seen. A hidden detail about her very special gown. She wanted to wear the same dress all night long and have fun with it. That's fine. I did that too. I had a removable bustle and I wore Toms. But she had a 3 meter long train and an even longer veil. Okay, 3 meters, whatever, it's your wedding. But the veil was like Princess Diana level.
Yeah, that's
It
only for a cathedral, like, because otherwise it's too much.
was at a hotel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and be like, mean. You can do whatever you want. I know that. You should dress appropriately to the venue, your like the occasion. And it's nice that they wanted to pick what she likes and feels good in and not be fashionable. And ordinarily, I totally get that. But if I'm going to be mean, I'm going
But
to
if your
say
sister's
that
nuts, that's it's like then.
it doesn't look expensive.
No, it looks like it's from David's bridal, but all that matters is that she liked it, and I will be the first to say that. But I have a podcast that relies on my opinions, so I can say it just looks
I will
stupid. It looks like
grudgingly admit that all that matters is that she likes it, but I'm going to just, yes, I'm agreeing with you. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look
on
good.
Sunday, Martha Louise wore Tina's third and final confection, a pink jacket dress with gold and white floral details that tie in with the pink, white and gold being the theme of the weekend. You can't see the pink, white, and gold in the photos. It all just looks like a Hello Kitty pink party.
Now, see, I like Hello Kitty a lot,
I'm
so that
sorry.
almost got me. But
Almost got you. It's very pink. It's very pink. And I would think, and
that's
she's
why I'm getting
gorgeous
80s so
wedding.
much. Like, because that pink and gold is very 80s to me.
I'm surprised she wasn't holding. I mean, I'm from North Carolina, the land of big meringue weddings. I'm surprised she wasn't holding like a pink Stanley Cup with this dress. Doesn't look-
Now, could this dress be salvaged with a pink Stanley Cup and cowboy boots?
Yes, yes, 100%.
So there we go.
And a little bit of chicken fried. Yep, then it would fit right in. The bridesmaids, they have what we did, Malia, for my wedding, which you were my maid of honor.
Oh, that's right.
She
I
let the
actually did like
bridesmaids
that.
pick dresses that looked good on them. And they were all ivory. And she let them pick. We had dove gray. You could pick what style suited your body and what that you thought you might wear again. And then we had nude heels, nude pumps
Yeah,
or
actually,
flats.
I have gotten a lot of use out of those nude pumps.
Yeah, it's fine. And then she did that for her bridesmaids, all of which look very different and have different body types. So that's fantastic. And then
Speaking
she
of body
made,
types, incidentally,
yes,
as a man, we're picking on the women, so I'm going to pick on the men.
go for it.
As a
Clear
man,
opportunity.
if you have a bit of a tummy, you should not have a coat that cuts up high. Like, just like,
Like when
women
Donald
know.
Trump wears tails, it looks like that.
Yeah, don't have a coat that's cut high in the front if you have a bit of a tummy, dudes, and especially don't have a cummerbund, because it just gives this impression of like, you either look sloppy or you look like it somehow like makes you look like you have even more of a gut.
It looks like when
Actually, his suit is extraordinarily poorly fitted.
it
His
is.
like pants are like puddling around his ankles.
That's probably revenge by the tailor. But this is because this is such a ridiculous suit. But like, it looks like your daddy dance when you're a bride and your dad's pudgy and he's wearing
Yeah.
tails. That's how he looked.
I think that he must exaggerate his height because I'm looking at a bunch of pictures of him, and in almost every single one, his pants are too long.
And also in her vows, I understand, it said in Hello Magazine, that she had to say first that her daughters come first, which I think is a very interesting clue now that we've read his wiki, where he is so self-consumed and controlling that she actually had to say, as you know, my daughters come first as part of her vows.
That is, I mean, that's a lovely sentiment, but also strange in context.
It means something different to me now that I've read about him.
Yeah.
She has to remind him of that, but gently, lovingly. Remind.
Lovingly, gently.
Um, So here's some more details you really need to hear. Uh, so they kicked off with welcome drinks on Thursday night, followed by a pre-wedding party on Friday night. Well, I thought that's what the welcome drinks were. I had a barbecue the night before, so I'm all for pre things. Then the wedding on Saturday and breakfast and brunch Sunday. The nuptial between the 52-year-old royal and her self-styled Shaman husband, 49, and also they had a podcast called The Shaman and the Princess, if you want to look that up, has been mired in controversy in part due to the couple's use of commercial links and agreements. So today's theme of the podcast is commercial links and agreements. Among them are exclusivity deals with Hello Magazine and Netflix. Also, maybe you and I should call Netflix and maybe we could get an interview. They will never talk to us about how they've gotten these deals with royals or former royals.
Oh, I
Because
would
there have
love
been
to
several
know.
of them, and there was one about a minor royal who committed a murder or something. Not to drill them down about details they can't talk about, but how they got these deals and who it is on their team that's pursuing them. I'd be interested in that
Yeah,
because they
that's
have the
been
crown. That's something we're too ghetto to get anywhere near. But like maybe we could talk to a producer or something who's gone and helped broker these agreements with minor royals or ex-royals to see what their plan is, what their viewership level is, what their numbers have been. Anyway, I might just have to write about that as an independent article. According to Seg O'Hur, that's a magazine, guests were told not to post images to social media with the alleged ban thought to be linked to these exclusivity agreements. Okay, fine. They probably put them in, what are they called? Those bags that radiation can't come out of. They probably took their phones and put them into Faraday bags so that they couldn't be contaminated with radiation. That's probably the real meaning. According to the Norwegian publication, ahead of the wedding, a message was sent out to their invitees asking them not to share anything on their social media profiles. Please remember that mobile phones or cameras are not allowed in any of the events throughout the weekend. In addition, we ask that you not post anything on social media, it states, according to an email. I don't care. Okay, so it then reiterates that it is very important that everyone follows the guidelines and ask them to take them seriously. Okay, so it's money and it's radiation. Norwegian outlet
radiation.
Aftenposten reported that a well-known Netflix director named Rebecca Chalkin, remember that name, who worked on the hit show Tiger King. Yes,
Oh,
you heard that correct.
and the
I'm reading
pieces
this
start to
live to
fall
you.
together.
Would be making the documentary about the pair. Rebecca Chalkin, we respect you and your work, but we would really love to know about why you chose them and how you pursued it and how it worked out for you and what the numbers were at the end of the day.
What really disappoints me is that if it was a real documentary, I would love to see it. But it's going to be like a Meghan and Harry documentary, which
No,
is
this
really
Ken
just
Burns,
a.
no like still shots of Norwegian royal family's history with like
We're not
little.
going to get like the truth or,
No,
about it all. It was just going to be like a, hey, look, this is what it's like for someone's wedding. It's basically a
it's
wedding
gonna be
video.
like the ghost of my vagina, like met the ghost of his sperm, and we just knew it was meant to be or something. So, Andy, hold on, I have to call my husband. Andy, could you corral the bird? He's tired of hearing me not pay attention to him. 3 days ago, the bird was on my shoulder, listeners, like for an
The
hour.
bird
So
the
it's not
bird
like
is over this
it's not
whole
like I'm
matter.
neglecting it because I'm consumed and not fit to be a pet parent. Okay. Um, the
It's
outlet
afraid of
said
the ghost.
the American production company Nordic Pictures LLC is collaborating with a Norwegian production company. I bet Nordic Pictures LLC was put together over a weekend and incorporated in Delaware just to do this. But I could be wrong. It's my legal background. 3 days ago, Netflix confirmed via a press release that it is making an in-depth and moving documentary, in-depth and moving, about Princess
Promises,
Maartha Louise
promises.
and Shaman Durek's love story. It was also reported by Aftenposten that Rebecca Chalkin requested that the Norwegian drone photographer apply for a drone permit.
I really and okay, now pretend that a gig is a gig and money is money, and you're making this, and deep in your heart that there's a 10 years at max, 5 years more likely, very, very ugly and unhappy story to come. And you don't want to be the person who has the who is responsible for making the movie where everyone's like, come on. Could
Yeah.
you not have seen anything?